For more on the situation in the Middle East, we're joined by retired U.S. Navy Vice Admiral Robert Murrett. He is also a professor at Syracuse University and a friend of the show. We always love when you are on. So let's start there with what Aaron was talking about. You know, we've had these indirect negotiations going on. The administration has been touting the progress there, but there are some major sticking points, including the Strait of Hormuz. And I'm curious, as someone who was in the Navy, can you help us understand why the Strait is proving such a hard issue to resolve?
Yeah, Kelly, great question. I was glad to see the update from Aaron as well. You know, there are currently 3 different shipping channels that we've got in the Straits of Hormuz right now. There's one which is close to the Iranian coast, which they think is the most important one. There's one within Omani territorial waters, which is on the other side. And then the third one is the traditional route, which is the one that was been used before the war started a couple of months ago, which is now contested, and there may be some mines in the middle of it, so it's not being used very much. Having safe passage through there is going to be critical. The numbers we've had for the last week or so have actually been somewhat encouraging, averaging around 40 or 50 ships a day in both directions. But based on some of the comments we had yesterday, including earlier this morning, the Iranians put out notice that they would contest. It was closed for anything that was not coordinating with the Iranian leadership to get through the strait. So it's still something that they hold leverage of, and that's probably going to continue for some time.
So, Admiral, who, in your view, is holding the cards with regards to the negotiations at this moment?
Yeah, Vlad, as we discussed before, the negotiations are covering a lot of different aspects. So far, the focus, as you know, has been primarily on sanctions relief, which they have already. The holdings that we have in Western banks of significant $6 billion. North of that. The other thing that's been a key part of the discussions has been the fighting in Lebanon, which the Iranians are focused on. Some of the tougher issues, certainly the nuclear issue, has been punted downstream. And I don't know if we're going to get to that anytime soon, just based on the priorities that the negotiations have. Although one encouraging thing that did come from the discussions yesterday in Qatar was opening a communication channel we have for deconflicting any misunderstandings. And that's important no matter what you think about the talks. And it was good to see that they have a hotline of sorts developed right now with the military counterparts we've got in Iran.
I want to get your take on some news coming out of Iran. So they're set to hold a state funeral for the late supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who, of course, was killed in the strikes, the U.S. Israeli strikes back in February. Do you think that this is a sign Tehran is confident the U.S. isn't ready to return to full-scale conflict? Because you obviously wouldn't want missiles coming in right in the middle of a funeral.
Yeah, my sense is that there's probably under-the-table understanding that attacks are not going to take place for this big public event. It's pretty much it's a huge day off for the Iranians for the funeral for the former supreme leader, and I think that they have an understanding that we wouldn't hazard that. I think that would probably increase tensions to a level which we would not be comfortable with, and certainly the intermediaries we've got, primarily the Qataris and the Pakistanis, might have been part of that as well.
All right, retired Vice Admiral Robert Murrett, thank you. And thank you for your service as we roll into the Independence Day weekend. It's always great to talk to you.
Thank you. Best wishes.